You want to look good in your underwear and be comfortable, right? But that perfect balance is hard to find. Don't sacrifice style or comfort. Check out MeUndies. August is National Underwear Month, and to celebrate, MeUndies is making it easier than ever to try the world's most comfortable underwear by giving you a risk-free guarantee. All National Underwear Month long. If you don't love your MeUndies, they're free. MeUndies are made from lensing micromodal, a sustainably sourced, naturally soft fabric that's proven to be 3 times softer than cotton. Micromodal is an all-natural, breathable, eco-friendly fabric extruded from Austrian beech trees that actually inhibits odor. No stinky undies, just soft, cool, and cozy MeUndies. MeUndies are the ultimate feel-good undies for when you want to feel naked but not actually be naked. All National Underwear Month long, you can feel them for yourself, risk-free. It's simple. If you don't love your MeUndies, they're free. Now until August 31st, get 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/blogtalk. That's MeUndies.com/blogtalk. MeUndies.com/blogtalk.
Blog Talk Radio.
Clap your hands for Angela.
Yeah, I am. I was expecting the package from
Clap your hands for Angela.
Hello, thank you for listening to Show Talk with Angela Butler. I am Angela Butler. Today's interview is Reverend Lionel Gantt of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference from the state of Georgia. Also, of course, our wonderful Mr. Frank Scurlock from the beautiful state of Louisiana. And he is also, as we all know, and as you all are running for mayor of New Orleans. How are you, Mr. Scurlock?
Oh, well, I'm doing good. A little concerned that we're having pumping issues in New Orleans. We had bad flood last weekend, and they say more rain's on the way, and for whatever reason, our pumps are shut down right now, and they're not working, so I'm a little concerned.
Oh, my goodness. I did not know that. I did not know that. I wasn't keeping up with the news. I'm sorry to hear that. You're going to be okay, though, aren't you? A little concerned, but you have a way out, don't you?
I'm actually I'm going to Houston tomorrow, but I'm really concerned that, believe it or not, they canceled school because of the anticipated rain. It's almost like it's a hurricane without a hurricane. So before we're over with, we need to pray for New Orleans because something's not right. We've got to help figure this out. I'm glad you have a pastor on the phone because we certainly need more spirituality.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry about Louisiana, New Orleans. Maybe they're during another Hurricane Katrina. You know, sir? Okay. Well, Mr. Scurlock, I want to introduce you to Reverend Lionel Gantt. He is part of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He has Stopped the Violence and Incarceration nonprofit where he helps the youth, and also he has a radio show. How are you doing, Reverend Gantt?
Glory to God. Happy to be here. And sorry to hear about what's going on. It seems like something is happening all over the world.
Well, you're right. We need to just, as I try to, I'm a highly spiritual person myself, and I just say, slow it down, surrender to God, and let God's will be done. And sometimes people say, are you a pastor? I said, no, I'm just convicted with the Holy Spirit. It's about the same thing.
Amen.
Okay. Amen. So, besides the hurricane, the weather, the bad weather, no storm, no hurricane as of yet. It's been raining here in Florida, though. How are things in Georgia, in your part of Georgia, Reverend Gantt? Reverend Gantt?
Amen. Well, we just we're continuing in the battle. We're trying to curb the tide of violence in our cities nationwide. We're trying to put a strong voice out there to stop the violence. You know, no army goes to war and expects to win the battle by killing their own soldiers. We are only as strong as our weakest link, and we're trying to stop the bloodshed in our own community, starting with accountability with us first on black crime.
Yes, sir. I know that.
You know, we're having, as you may know, New Orleans is the highest incarcerated city in the United States. Our prison system is completely overflowing, and you know, sadly, I was wrongly arrested back in May. I actually was completely vindicated yesterday, and I even though most people would probably say they didn't enjoy their experience going to the jail, the prison system, but I got to tell you, for that 6 hours I was there, I learned a lot of people or about them there, and they all have hearts, they all have souls, but you know what they need? They need something to live for. They need to be loved. They need an economy, and most importantly, they need jobs. And one of the big problems that we've been having is there's so few real jobs in New Orleans. I mean, if you've been here, you know, we got great entertainment, great food, great restaurants, but that comes and goes. And right now, because of the heat wave in New Orleans, our tourism is real low right now, and people are getting hungry. People are getting really upset, and emotions are flaring. And our crime is totally out of control now with flooding. Basically, the number 3 flood New Orleans ever had was actually last Saturday, and now we got more rain on the way, and for whatever reason, our pumps aren't working. I am so concerned. People are going to pop a cork. We need help, and I don't know why this is happening to us. Maybe it's a cleansing or something, but people don't get right and surrender and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have some real issues ahead of us.
Okay, I'd like to say something. Mr. Frank Scurlock, he is running for mayor of New Orleans. He is for the monument, the civil monument confederacy, but he also he's for them stand, but he also has said numerous times on Show Talk with Angela Butler, there are alive people. The people who are alive now mean more than the people who are deceased. He's talking about headstones, graveyards, and things. Reverend Gantt, I understand what he's saying. We have our strong beliefs also as Black Americans, but his point is they have their heritage too. It may not be what we like, but he also has common sense and a love for God. He says he would rather not see bloodshed. He doesn't like the way the violence, the things that are going. Please talk, Mr. Scurlock, on what I'm saying.
Well,
about the violence, that you don't want that.
You know, here's the thing, and I didn't want to think too much on the monuments, but our mayor over the past year or so has made these Civil War monuments a very big deal. They've been there 100 years, okay? And you know what? That was a marker, a recognition of an end of a time. That was a federal decision that our president, Abraham Lincoln, closed all that out. And it's just like in any war. Even in the scriptures, it tells you of all the things. That's why there's an Old Testament, most importantly, a new one. And the New Testament we know is about forgiveness and about love. But the thing it's not about erasing. You have to remember the past in order to set a tone and respect for the future. And what my concern is, because while the monuments came down in New Orleans, now it's traveling across the United States to South Carolina, Florida, and this weekend they're actually having a big event at the Alamo in San Antonio, and I'm concerned that's going to lead to violence because if you start erasing history, I mean, don't forget, even in the case of war, when maybe your team or the side you were supporting didn't prevail, you might have had a relative that lost their life in that. You might have had bloodshed. And in my case, my namesake, Miles Scurlock, died for the United States in the Alamo itself because he was one of the first people to defend. But sooner than later, the country woke up, came to the rescue, and we took our country back. And I think the key here is we need to have respect for one another, and we ought to build and grow. It's my understanding just yesterday they made an announcement about the future currency and the $20 bill, which currently is Andrew Jackson. And I understand they're going to put on one side Ms. Harriet Tubman, and they're going to keep on the other side Andrew Jackson. I think that's a fair compromise. And it's the currency for one united nation. This is a national issue, not a South issue. It's not a North. It's not a black or a white. If there's one thing we should all be recognizing, we are one united nation, but most importantly, we should be under the grace of our Creator, and that's God.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay, Reverend Gantt, would you like to talk, sir?
Oh, yeah, well.
I did take you a little off guard.
No. We're not opposed to a lot of things, but the treatment of Black America is historically documented. I mean, the words on the Constitution don't mean anything when it's deprived from any part of its citizenship, and we've been deprived of those common rights from the start. And Andrew Jackson, all the horrific things that he did, as far as my people are concerned, he shouldn't be on the flip side of Harriet Tubman by no way, because it was because of people like him that we had that Underground Railroad in the first place. So America has a double standard, and I mean, and when it comes to Black America, the laws doesn't apply to us, and that's why we're out in the streets. That's why we're marching. That's why we're protesting. That's why we're standing against it. Because if the Constitution doesn't protect the right of one of its citizens, I mean, then the Constitution is non and void.
Would you please speak, Mr.
Well,
Scurlock?
I don't think
You might be
that
president one day now.
Well, what I'm trying to think here is when you say if it doesn't represent the right of one, but their right is there. It is going to be represented. So is both sides. It doesn't really matter. Everybody is represented, and that's, if you go to a museum or a monument or cemetery, you got people of all types recognized.
Then, sir, if that's the case,
But understand,
huh?
Please,
I'm sorry.
let me say something. I'm sorry, but I know no disrespect for either one of you gentlemen. But what I'm saying is, right now, the killings by the police and all of that.
That's right.
That's what you're mainly talking about, Reverend Gantt. It's not. I understand history. History is important for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Everybody needs to know where they come from, but it shouldn't be filled with hatred. But what we're talking about, Mr. Scurlock, on the phone here is supposed to be about your election and what you stand for and what you believe in for New Orleans, which, is what we're talking about. But I just want to know, what did you think about the killings of not just black people, but of everyone, the killings by the police? I know you said you had been put in jail.
Absolutely.
What do you think about killing?
That's unjustifiable. Quite frankly, it's very simple that I think we all should agree that love is better than hate. And we got to figure out where this hatred comes from. I know personally, I'm attacked all day long. I'm attacked from people for whatever reason. They think because I've had some success in my life, they think I'm not a good person, and I don't get that. I'm like they're very close-minded, and I'm a self-made person. I started working at 10 years old, and you know what? I've had success. I help so many people. As I don't have to go around and say what I did for other people. But the bottom line is, I am not a politician. I'm an entrepreneur candidate that only want to do one thing, and that's create jobs. But besides the creation of jobs, I want to teach people to love one another. Because once again, I go from the Old Testament to the New Testament. It's all, and John's amazing. The love letters, it's absolutely amazing. And we need to really teach that. And one thing in New Orleans, I hate to say it, but it's almost people have a belief or not in spirituality. And when I get mocked by people, because I like to quote scriptures and I mention things in passing, sadly, they write up like, oh, here's some religious kook or whatever. Well, for some reason, you can take out our currency, and it simply says in there, "In God we trust." I actually was at a men's group this morning that I was handed a book. I'm actually holding it in my hand, and it says, "When a nation forgets God." I haven't had a chance to read it.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I haven't had a chance to read it because I just got it this morning. But when a nation forgets God, we are doomed. Society will stop. It will be horrid. You think about, I'm involved in the entertainment business for a good bit, and I'm actually writing a screenplay, and it's actually based on what would have happened if the Garden of Eden went right. Could you imagine that utopian society that we live in? But we all know man was weak, man fell, man sinned, and we pay the price for it every day. But in human relations, we're all brothers and sisters. We're all the children of our Creator, and we should be thankful. I believe one of the biggest problems is not only lack of love for people, there's so many mental issues that people, from not having enough income to hardly eat, hardly having shelter. That's why there's growing homelessness out there in the United States that we're working on. I'm all about creating jobs because I will tell you that I believe what I've seen. And I've actually been in factories in China. I've been in factories that I personally own in the United States. Everybody can coexist, but you have to have decency and respect. And the thing that I'm really saddened to see, and look, and you mentioned police. I don't know the exact event you're referring to, but I know a couple of years ago in Baton Rouge there was an issue. I know there was issues in South Carolina. There's no justification for anybody, white, black, pink, or green, to hurt anybody. That's just outright wrong, and that needs to stop, and that needs to stop now. But we all need to get along, and I truly believe we can, because you know what? That's one of the greatest things our Constitution does stand for. It stands for freedom and civil liberties of everybody.
Yes, sir. Okay. Reverend Gantt, would you like to speak?
Well, right now, sir, we're working on, and we need your support. We need you all. We need all the politicians and all the candidates to get behind this, because we have a problem in America, and no use in us trying to overlook it or anything like that. We have a problem in America, especially when it comes to dealing with Black America. Okay, now we're right now, because of the drug war and the drug war tactics that have been conducted across the country. The drug war was not fought in Buckhead, in the rich area. No, it was fought in Bankhead, in our communities. And see, we are making up over 60% of the prison population as a result of that. And we know that the prison industrial complex is just we need a bill, a law that would deal with justice for all Americans. You keep saying that the Constitution is for all Americans, but I have to beg it to differ. It is not. It is not for us, and history backs us up. What would you do as a candidate to try to eliminate the violence and the mass incarceration that we're seeing today in your hometown?
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, from the people I interacted with because of a brief prison central lockup that I went through, most of those people were there because of stealing. Yesterday, when I was vindicated at court, I met 3 different people, and it all had to do with illegal possession of drugs. Obviously, I'm not going to advocate anything that's illegal, but for some reason, there's that, and that's, once again, look at my office. I was broken in 3 times. I lost my own personal scooter. Somebody stole on Saturday night, and when I did the police report, I said, I don't understand. How could somebody take my scooter? And it wasn't just a normal scooter. It was all purple. And it was like, it's very highly identifiable. And you know what? It's going to show up. But a lot of these people, it's because they haven't been given that opportunity. And the one thing, as an entrepreneur, I want to give everybody opportunity. I think America was built on small business. Personally, I think some of the big companies, while everybody might like to shop at Walmart or Costco or Sam's Clubs, but the reality is, because of those giant corporations, they're limiting the income by paying minimal as they can get away with, hardly giving any benefits to people, and yet everybody shops there. But we need a society. When I grew up, my dad was in a small town in East Texas of 5,000 people. We had a community square, and we had the Five and Dime, the Rexall Drugs. We had a local movie theater, Western Auto, and small businesses that everybody built upon. If you've been to the French Quarter, that's one of the few things we have really going good for New Orleans. On Royal Street, it's all mom-and-pop family businesses. We don't really have that many chains in the French Quarter. We don't have many major hotels from outside. We have a lot of local hotels, and that's part of the charm and the beauty. And really, on a national basis, sadly, it's that corporate mentality when it all becomes about the dollar and cutting the penny here or there. Utilities is so far out of control. It's not, and part of my platform is what we call the ACE plan. That's ACE, and A stands for affordable housing. And it's not just the house itself; it's all the things that goes with it. It's the cable bill, the phone bill, it's the cell phone bill, it's the electricity. Totally out of control. Then crime is We are understaffed. We have no technology. We have no leadership. Sadly, our police department, they call them our men in blue, there's hardly any recognition for them. And that's one of the things coming up next week is going to be National Police Appreciation Day, which we're going to be an active part in. And they need our thing. We need a relationship between the police departments and the citizens. Quite frankly, I was arrested for talking to a policeman, and that's a disgrace. Quite frankly, for whatever reason, sadly, it was an African American police officer wouldn't even look at me, and I was trying to help prevent a fight, and instead of saying, "Hey, how can I help you?" or "What do you need?" he said, "Don't talk to me." And instead of, I actually got arrested trying to promote peace, which is absolutely atrocious. But the last part of our campaign for the ACE is the E, and that is education and employment. We need both.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes,
at the end of the day, and one of the things that Ms. Butler and I have been talking about, I told her the history of my family about my father actually invented the bouncy castle known as the spacewalk or the moonwalk.
He worked for the, yes, sir. NASA. Your father worked. I'm sorry.
Well, he invented the inflatable bounce house, and we have a brand name called Spacewalk. And I took that invention that my dad had, and my mother started running them in New Orleans, and starting when I was in high school, I expanded it nationwide. And we opened up over 300 offices, including all over Atlanta. I mean, I've been to Alpharetta. I've been to DeKalb. I've been to, oh, man, I got so many of them. I've been to Peachtree. I've been to Buckhead. I've been in the bad areas. I've been in the good areas. And I will tell you what, and it sounds like, not having met you before, I'll tell you one thing, is that the people who really enjoy our services and products the most, quite frankly, they're the ones that don't have hardly anything. The community gatherings that we do, churches, parks, playgrounds, company picnics, and reunion, I got to tell you, you guys know how to party. You guys know how to come together. And my mother coined the phrase, "Here comes fun," and we bring people together. And sadly, here in New Orleans back in the 70s, while we would, we delivered to anybody, we don't discriminate, but when we brought our products to the housing projects, we were greeted in the morning, but we went to pick up our products in the afternoon. Sadly, they heard our delivery drivers. They wanted to take it away. And, and that was back in the 70s.
Mm.
Yes, sir.
But, but we see a bigger light. And I've been blessed all my life to actually been involved in entertaining families. I sadly was a victim of crime myself. I had a gun pointed at me, and there was no police protection in the year 2000. So I had to do what was best for my family. We packed up and we moved to Orlando, Florida. I lived at Disney World for 10 years, the happiest place on earth. But it's not that it's just that the happiest place on earth is that it's when people have a good time, when people feel safe and secure, they can actually do what I believe our Creator wants us to do, and that is live, okay? And, my God, Jesus is out there living. He's off the cross. We have personal relationships, and we can relate to it. And you think about it from his standpoint. Would he want somebody to harm one another? That's ridiculous. And I don't understand why murderers and thieves and stuff do their thing, but I do know one thing. They don't have to worry about me. Quite frankly, they don't even have to worry about the police force. They have to worry about being judged themselves by their Creator, because one day there is going to be that judgment day, and we are all sinners. There's no doubt. We can only try and strive for perfection, but the reality is we can't. But the real truth of the matter is it's better to do things the right way, because your personal integrity and your soul, you cannot compromise, and you can't fool God. God's the ultimate judge, and not that I want to go off on a tangent on that, but I will say this. Having gone through a legal system, all the beliefs come straight out of the book. The 10 Commandments set it up very clean and simple for us all to get along, and that's what we should be following.
Yes, sir.
Well,
now, go ahead, Reverend Gantt.
Well, I wanted to, You see, a lot of the things that you're saying are pretty much in line with the SCLC Stop the Violence and Incarceration campaign. You know, and we came up with a 7-point plan to counter it. And one of the things that we really need and that we're pushing right now is for job creation. Okay, we have to create our jobs. We have to create jobs for those who can't find a job. We're trying to educate them on how to create their own job. Okay, what do you propose to do? And I know you're going over your plan to create these jobs.
Absolutely, and a lot of times, because I travel because of business coast to coast, if not internationally, is that I'm seeing too many closed down factories, too many distribution centers. What I would love to do, you know, our current president talks about closing the borders. The border we got to close is our trade. We got to stop buying from China. We got to start putting ourselves first. We have, you know, heck, here in New Orleans, I'm sure in Atlanta as well, we got many quality people just in the clothing industry, just in the agriculture industry, in the manufacturing. We need to make
cars.
Things here. And yeah,
like
exactly. 2 weeks ago, I was up in Ohio. I saw Diana Ross perform at a casino in Ohio next to a closed-down Ford factory. And all these jobs, every single one of them adds up. Sadly, when Katrina hit New Orleans, my own company had to go to China to succeed in order to make our products. And you know what I'm proudly to state is starting a year and a half ago, we started phasing it out, and we're opening up the world's largest inflatable factory here in New Orleans. I might not be able to employ all of New Orleans, but I surely can employ some, and we're very excited about the possibility, not the possibility, the reality of creating jobs. Because you know what? We can all coexist. And I will tell you one thing, having been to China, is that some of the poorest people on earth are the most happiest. And I've been up in Wall Street and New York City as well. When those are greedy people up there, granted it's expensive to live up there, but if you can't live within your means and be realistic to help one another, you really need to rethink what's important to you in life, because you can't take it with you. You have to live every day.
Yes, sir. Yes, and job creation is important. Entrepreneurship is important also, because you're an entrepreneur, even though you have hundreds of stores and you're opening there in New Orleans. It is New Orleans that you have one of the biggest factories. For some reason, Mr. Scurlock, I thought it was an amusement park. I don't know why.
Well, I'm also working on a project. There is a closed-down Six Flags project in New Orleans that's been closed down since Katrina. One of my development companies that I work with, we've been actively working with the city of New Orleans to reopen it. Sadly, they have not been receptive to our offers. Our consultants tell us it was going to create over 10,000 jobs within 36 months. And I just mentioned a few minutes ago, statistically, New Orleans is the highest incarcerated city in the United States, if not the world. And 10,000 jobs within 36 months, that would be a huge change, huge dynamic. You know, New Orleans is great. If you've been here, we got our French Quarter and stuff, but we need more family attractions, and we need to decentralize off of alcohol. We need to get things that people can do. Families can interact with one another. We don't even have a water park here. We don't have music. No, I'm not saying a dry county. I'm just saying we don't need to make it just about alcohol. We need to make family events.
Here, where I live at, in Florida, in the county I live, on Sundays they don't sell any alcohol. You have to go to another county. I'm sorry.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that we need family attractions, and quite frankly, you know, New Orleans is we got some great natural resources. I mean, our landscape down here, our bayous, our culture is beautiful, the river, the lake, but we don't really have a lot of things. I mean, I've been to your Six Flags over in Atlanta. Y'all got several water parks all over the place.
Yes, sir. You're fading out. Mr. Scurlock.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're fading out. Okay. We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, no,
You were saying?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yes, sir. We couldn't hear what you were saying about Six Flags. I'm sorry.
No, I've been to the Six Flags in Atlanta. I've been to all these water parks. I used to, there's more than 40 million tourists a year that actually go to Orlando alone. Could you imagine what if we had, 10% of that in New Orleans? I just talked to a contractor a few minutes ago about the airport here. We're building a $2 billion airport, but yet it only has 35 gates for planes. I don't know where the money's going to, but, I've been to the Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. I don't know how many gates they have, but I got to tell you, it's too big. Close part of it down. Send it to New Orleans. I've taken the tram underground from one area to another. It's too big. Send some to us. We need it.
Yeah, it is huge. And the martyr is something else. I get lost.
Oh, when I fly to Atlanta, I don't think I've ever rented a car in Atlanta. I fly into the airport and I catch my, I go through that what's thing called 5 Point Station and change there and go straight to the Georgia World Congress Center. I cut my teeth with my mom and dad probably when I was 14, 15 years old going there. I've been to CNN Center. Quite frankly, I actually liked it before CNN. That was actually an indoor amusement park back in the day when it was originally built with the Omni Hotel there. That's one of my favorite. Personally, I love Centennial Park, and quite frankly, I got scared when I went to the Georgia aquarium about a year ago, seeing all those. I don't know what type of shark it was, but it was ugly and scared me.
Okay. Reverend Gantt, what do you have to say about them closing some of the Atlanta airport and sending it to New Orleans?
Oh, well, I know he was joking. They can't keep up with what they got now.
Exactly.
They'd be talking about expanding it. But that here's where we where we come in at with our fight. The mass incarceration of our young people. We're trying to get legislation passed to overturn the drug war, to stop those tactics that are being used. I often inform people that that by a sitting president actually declaring war on drugs, that put us under the War Powers Act, and we have actually been at war on the continent of the United States for these years, and those wars were fought in our communities. Those wars were fought in our neighborhoods, and we have bared the burden of this mass incarceration. So what we need legislation to overturn those drug war tactics. We need legislation that would overturn the
law
3 strikes you're out.
That they have in place. It does not give the judges any discretion. There was a lady named Danielle Matt. She's there in New Orleans. It had something to do with drugs and the man she was married to. They both received. She was 24 years old and she had 2 children. And she's out now after about 25 years. She was pardoned. But she received 3 life sentences plus 20 years, and she didn't kill anyone. Her husband, I don't know what he was doing, but a 24-year-old, he's like 15, 20 years older than her. So she suffered. Her children suffered. Her family had to take care, of the children who are, of course, now grown. I think it was called the Mandatory Sentencing Act, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I understand that there is a problem. People are saying drugs. Mr. Cory Booker, he wants marijuana to be legal. So he's a senator. I forgot which state, though.
Well,
yes, sir.
Which I actually think the reality is marijuana is natural. It's not synthetic. it definitely has effects on the body, but there's a lot of use in the medical field. We know what's happened in Colorado. I believe California is doing it. I think we should allow it to be legalized. That would be a state issue, not a city issue. And we really could tax that to utilize it to help with the economy and the services here. Sadly, what's happening in New Orleans, I was just with some council members yesterday, is so many people have cash businesses. They're not reporting their sales tax. They just outright stealing from the system. And I don't know how they can sleep at night, but I got to tell you, when I ran businesses day to day, I actually look forward to doing sales tax, because you know what that meant? That was closure of a period of time, and it meant how we did and stuff like that. Right now, sadly, our mayor's put up all these red light cameras and speeding cameras all over. Even the police hate them, okay? And then there's all these stupid forms of taxations. We need to make money the old-fashioned ways. We need to roll up our sleeves, get to work. Quite frankly, you know, we need to shut down our borders. I've been to China. I've been to the port of New York. I've been to the port of Los Angeles. We have too many containers coming in. You can just, by driving on most interstates in the United States, you see the containers. Some of them even say China shipping. That's a disgrace. We should immediately do whatever it takes, start raising our voices to these retailers, say made in America, because that's where we live. It's made in America. When we start a true economy, when we start taking care of one another, as it said in the Bible, things will come together. We don't have to worry about anybody else. We're self-sufficient. You know, that's one of the things. We kind of got lazy, and it's not just about the price. It's the value. I'd rather pay a little more and have it here that supports my brothers and sisters so we can all get along, because we all need to be fed. And there is nothing worse than a person that's homeless and hungry. When I was in jail, I met a guy who I asked him why was he in, because I'd never been in a police car, much less in jail before, and he told me that he was there because he stole something. And I asked him, what did you steal? And he said that he stole underwear. And I said, wow, he's already homeless, but now he's getting ready to be naked. And basically he was at the point where he didn't want to lose self-respect and dignity. Granted, I don't know of a ministry out there that provides underwear for people. I know there's a lot of ministries that provide food and some shelter. But I got to tell you, that is just a true sign of how bad our economy is in the United States. I don't care who's up at the White House. They need to just shut down the borders.
Go ahead, sir.
We need to shut down our borders, and we need to have a program that supports everything in the United States. I don't know if we need a tariff or just ban, but I got to tell you, I can't really think of who likes shopping with anything in China. It needs to be made in America.
Yeah. Tariffs is what he's saying. He's not talking about Mexican borders or fences. He's talking about trade. Just want to make that clear to everyone.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes, sir. Anything? We got about 30 seconds. Anything else?
Well, I would like to work with you and continue to work with you and help you in your campaign and help you establish the things in New Orleans to stop our boys from going to jail.
And please, I'd love to see your 7 points, because we certainly need 7 and a lot more points. We need people out of jail. We need people in the workforce. We need people to stop and surrender and basically receive all the gifts that are out there for us. And I really appreciate your openness, and God bless you, your organization. And look, New Orleans and Atlanta, the only thing we should fight over is a football. And I tell you what, I love my Saints.
We taking that all the way this year.
Okay. All right, my friend. God bless.
Daddy, where do babies come from? Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.